Westminster, one of my best friends was Wally Berger. I have one that I had told before. Uh, uh, we were in our Navy uniforms at that time, and Wally Berger and I were on the basketball team, and as such, you traveled from town to town. We played a circuit that Westminster would play. I mean, Drury and some small schools like that. Anyway, we had some place that we were playing in Kansas City, and Boog and I call Wally Berger Boog. Boog and I were rooming together, and woke up uh, the next morning, and my uniforms were all over the floor. I said, Boog, how come you're dumping my uniforms all over the floor? He said, I didn't dump any uniforms. He said, as a matter of fact, it looks like my uniforms are too. Turns out some so-and-so had broken into our room and robbed us. Stole, we didn't have any cash to start with, but whatever cash we had, you know, when you're in college, you don't have anybody. We may have had a couple of bucks or something. Well, it turns out somebody had broke, and we don't know how they broke in. They were very quiet. We didn't know anything about it, but I remember I remember being Boog, and we were both upset about it, and we for years talked about it. Somebody broke in and stole our no good money. Yeah, he and I played basketball, and we ran. We played track. I was, and he didn't like track either. But I made the track team because when Father's Day came that freshman year, I ran second. Turns out to the varsity 2 mile runner, and so the coach says, "I want you to come out for coach in the spring." I didn't want. I hated to train to run the 2 miles. It's just I've never liked to practice golf. I did it, but I figured because when you're running anything for any distance, you have to build up your lungs, and I never could get past the 2 minute mile, so I was never really any good at it. And Boog was the same way. He and I ran about the same time. He also ran about like I did. But he also ran on the track team, and so we did a lot of things together. So he was probably my best college friend. Yeah, we were all in our 70s. And we decided, though, that we wanted to go down to the Alabama area, and or actually really the Gulf Coast area on a golf trip. So we went down there together, and for a couple of times. But one of the times when we went down, you couldn't get any reservations on the airplanes, so you had to grab your seats as best you could. And we were never anywhere close to getting first on that plane, you know. But in this particular instance that I was going to tell you about, we were about near the end of the place. It so happens that Charlie Wilcox was one of them, and Judge there, and Jack Kessberger, and I. So that was our foursome, and I guess Charlie. Charlie and I may have had seats together. There were seats side by side, 2 sets of, and double rows down there. And that left, who'd that leave?
Condit and Kessberger.
Condit, I guess, was in the back area by himself, not with anybody. And Cass was not on board yet. He had to come on board. And there was a thing that we were aware of the fact that when he did finally come on board, there were only 2 seats up front and left, and he took one of them. Cass did. Charlie and I on the right side of the place was watching this. They were holding that last seat for somebody who came in some kind of a wheelchair up and got onto the plane, and also was being helped aboard. And she weighed about 300 pounds, and the last seat was right next to Cass. Well, Charlie and I were sitting. What's Cass going to do? This woman tries to sit down in that seat. At which time I kind of yelled back there, "We've got one seat back here." Charlie and I were just breaking up because Cass couldn't get out of that chair fast enough when he saw this, because she was going to use about both seats. That was one of the most hilarious things that I think about. I'm glad you remember that.
Oh, okay. So,
Oh, brother.
oh, now, you know where we have to go, though.
No,
So
I.
after